think we got it set up, boys and girls. I think we managed it. Let's pop back and take a look. Man, I really need to fix. Why is that there? That background is ass. Like, it really is terrible. I need to fix that. Oh well, we'll get onto it. So, here we are yet again for another wonderful day of, if you can read, gathering, or as I like to call it, hunting cauliflower. Ooh, bounce shield of the mage. Look at that. We like those. Close. I don't want to. Let's see. Any good? We got terrible stats. So cooldowns after being hit 5 times. Accelerated defiant stance. Oh, damn. It's just not good enough. It's not gonna get us. Not gonna get us there. Blow that up. This is a sword. That's not as good as the one I have. That's. Sorry, I gotta make sure. Gotta make sure that I got all the goodies set up, then don't just get rid of the something usable. It's. I think this is technically better, but the stats on it aren't great. This is the worst of them. I'm being real, it doesn't really fucking matter a whole lot. Right? Like, life staff. Strength, dexterity, and life staff. That's gonna be solid, right? Like, get the fuck out of here with the bullshit. So these are both better than this one, by far. Right? Like that's strength and constitution. I guess it makes it a total of 22 versus a total of 19 stats. So overall, it's still better, right? So I think it's time to finally pitch this. Our level 38 stat. Yep. You've been good, little buddy. But it's time for you to go. Salvage. See me through a lot of good times, a lot of hard times. This is hard X. We're gonna pitch this too. Just bug it. Oh, this is. Why am I griping over these two are terrible? Like, boom, so much. That was easy. Constitution. We're out. We're out. Constitution intelligence. We're out. Reinforced mining luck. We'll take it. This is heavy, but it doesn't have the right stats. So we're out. This is heavy footwear, but it doesn't have the right stats. But it does have luck, so we're gonna hang on to that. This is. I can make stuff better than this shit. Although this will be good for an ice. Oh, fucking, it's bind on pickup. God damn it. Why is it gonna be bind on pickup? Easy. Easy piece to sell right there. It's garbage. Doesn't have the right stats. Here, gear score, but it doesn't have the right stats. Oh, yeah. This will be good for a healing build, but I can make something better. I guess that's true. I could also just make something better than this, right? Like, Yeah, I'm not gonna hang on to this. It's freaking buy not pick up. Get rid of that crap. I can make some better shit than that. Uh, that's butt cheeks. You have a get here, okay. This just has pure strength versus strength constitution. Yeah. I think that gets shipped. This was my old stuff. So, let's kick back. Gear mark. Worst armor rating. Doesn't have the stuff I want. See, this would be a great piece if it was a heavy, right? It's got a higher gear score. It's got a higher strength. I could care less about the attributes and crap, right? But it's just, it happens to be a light piece of armor. So the benefit is not very good. Let's kick all this shit. Put that up here. I think that's it, boys. I think we did it. Got 4 of those bat. Okay. I'm gonna take our turning orb, stuff it back there. This all goes here. I don't have any room. Look at all the fucking gear I'm carrying. Needs that. Like what? Why am I carrying this around? Yeah, I don't know why I'm carrying this. This is worthless right now. What is this? Why am I carrying this around? Okay, well let's. I'll put that there. That's. Also, we're gonna fall dive flat. We're gonna try and condense down, make a little more room in our inventory so we can get on about our business, because this is a bit much. Also, yeah, we're just gonna, because fuck it this way. It's pretty cool when you have your shield, right? Might as well just pour everything we have into making steel, because I don't care. Otherwise, we're just gonna end up taking up lots of extra space. Did I use all my fucking charcoal? Used all my goddamn charcoal to make steel. Bullshit. The buffuckery. The buffuckery that is afoot. Okay, come on. Do I got anything I can fuse? No. Anything I can cut? No. Nope, that's not. That's at a decent level. Okay. So what are we gonna take? That's because there ain't shit here. No wonder you can't fuse or cut anything. You don't have anything in freaking inventory. do anything here because just don't have high enough level. Crafting mods. Like, what is in my inventory is taking up so much? It's probably all this goddamn metalwork. Yeah, 600. Here we go. So here's my issue, right? Is I think down at First Light, I'm pretty sure there's a tier 5 smelter, right? So I could go turn on the star metal and or calcimine the shit, right? But I don't have any fucking sand flux, and I don't want to pay out the ass for it. So I might get screwed on this one. Also, I need to turn the wood into, or weird wood into planks. What has a, oh, tier 2, tier 3, oh, man. Tier 3, tier 2. Okay, that's freaking. Is there just no? There's no goddamn wood cutting place on this whole fucking place. It's tier 5, is it? On this whole map. This is one of my biggest gripes about this game. So there's no point. I can't do anything with it. I can't do a goddamn thing. So I just gotta. Just give me what I want. Give me what I want. But you can't have what you want. You can't have what you need. You have to agonize over it. Luckily, I have this. Granted, my leather work is too low to even do anything with that freaking. With all that ironhide, right? So that's just going to eat up my freaking inventory space too. Oh, okay. This, yeah, I could make infused silk, but I need a tier 5 loom. What place just somewhere literally just got a tier 5 loom? I think it was First Light. No, I think it was First Light. I'm like 100% positive it was First Light. We're gonna take a gamble. We're gonna take a gamble, chat. We're gonna go to First Light with our wire fiber, and we're gonna make some infused silk. Just cause. Actually, no, we're not. No, we're not gonna do any of that. We're gonna go like just make a bunch of shit and like lower our inventory, and try and get rid of shit. So probably want to push. We're gonna push armoring. Not that it's gonna be any good, but see. I'm I don't have leather. Which seriously just fucked me. Okay, well. We're really getting up there, right? I know. Fuck me. Well, I think I lied. I don't think I'm gonna get around to. Um.
Seriously, just fuck. Okay, well. We're really getting up there, right? I know. Fuck me. Well, I think I lied. I don't think I'm gonna get around to.
I probably won't get around to Cauliflower tonight. Blocking last count will convert man to salmon on hit point. That seems crap. That seems better. I hate the fact that I have to take these. Right?
Blocking last count will convert man. That seems crap. Better.
Well, that's not even the right one. Where's...
I have to take these. Right? Well, that's not even the right one. Where's...
This is what I need, so...
This is what I need, so...
Yeah, okay, that was what I need. Don't ask me why I felt like doing that in there. I just did. Let me be, chat. Let me be. Ugh.
Yeah, okay, that was what I need.
Let's see how expensive this shit is. One. Ugh.
Let me be, chat. Let me be.
Shit is expensive. Okay, well, we're done with that. So, I think we have plenty of shit everywhere.
Let's see how expensive this shit is. One.
I might just go. Yeah, I think I'm just. I need to really figure out what I'm doing here.
It is expensive.
I need to figure out what I'm doing in my life. I'm having such a just discombobulated fucking bullshit here right now. Server chain.
Might just go.
Don't care. Doing it.
Figure out what I'm doing in my life. I'm having such a
That'll help out quite a bit. That'll do a lot just for my inventory space. It's gonna be glorious. Glorious. Let's see what else.
don't care. Doing it.
This we got to turn into that to turn into that. Oh man, look at all that already. That's egg.
Do a lot just for my inventory.
Here's eating up a fucking shit ton of space too.
Glorious. Let's see what else. This we got to turn into that to turn into that. Here's eating up a fucking shit ton of space too.
Oh man, I just yeah. See, I want to sell this stuff. Why would I sell that? That's crap. I lied. That's it. Probably had a good. It probably had a really good fucking roll on it.
I want to sell this stuff.
Why is this stuff here? It's not even that. It's not even that great.
I
It's really not that good. Whatever. So 3.6 mining luck on
probably had a
gloves.
really good fucking roll on it.
Why are these here? They don't.
It's not even that great.
I think these are old gloves that need to be just gotten rid of.
Mining luck. Gloves.
I don't care about. I'm not. Those are buying on pickup. This is buying on pickup, so I'm gonna get rid of this too. I got a bunch of shit just eating up my inventory, right? So gloves, I'm looking for mining luck. 4 point. Oh, I'm sorry, these are 3.6 reinforced mining luck. These are 4.3, so these go. Right? Yeah, these can go away. So 4.3 is the new, what we're looking for, right? Okay, so that's out. 4.2 on pants. Pants. What are these here for? Are these my old pants? I think these were. I saw my gear from before I swapped over to. What is this doing here? This does nothing for me. Anyways, pants. Right? I don't see any other pants. So yeah, 4.2 mining luck pants. Don't have them. So harvesting luck on gloves, 4.3. Where's it? Harvesting luck, 4.3. Reinforced mining luck. Oh, I got two pairs. I can sell these. Remind me to keep these so they can be sold. I wish I could put something on them. 4.3. I know, such exhilarating content. 4.4. But that's harvesting and skinning, right? Okay, so that keeps 4% on a chest for mining luck. 4%. This is just better, right? Yeah, you get to be gone. 4% mining luck on chest. So skinning luck. That's that. So this is harvesting luck on chest. I'm looking at 3.8. Okay, 4% mining luck on boots. That's just luck. That's just luck. This is luck. Logging luck. Yeah, no mining luck. So this is harvesting, right? 3.7 harvesting luck. That's it. There's no. Okay, so what's this? This is harvesting luck again. 3.4 on a top or a helmet. This is 2% luck on a chest. I don't think I have anything that's gonna come close. Okay, boots again. So this is skinning luck. This is luck, and that's mining luck. So just skinning luck in general. Skinning. Oh. It's 2.1% luck, but this is bound to player, so I need to. Probably fucking paid for these two. God damn it. Skinning luck on boots. 4.1. This is 3.6. But I can sell these. I don't feel like selling them. I feel like cleaning out my fucking inventory, not dealing with this shit again. So we're gonna. Oh, this is a hat. This is harvesting luck. 4%. So yeah, goodbye to you. I don't know what fucking hat this is, but okay, luck boots. 2.1% of just pure luck. Yeah, you've already been eclipsed. So we're gonna kick you to the curb. I think we already established we don't have any skinning luck anywhere else, right? Yeah. That's fishing. These are mining luck. These are the best, yeah. But between, yeah, like which one? Um, I don't feel like dealing with the process of selling all this shit. It's because it's in my inventory. I don't want selling it until the fucking server merge, which is gonna eat up stuff. This is fishing gear, right? Logging luck, skinning luck, skinning luck. Yeah, so this is all just skinning stuff, or this is all just luck. You know, I don't care. I think I'm just gonna break all this shit down. I can make better shit, and it's eating up space. Not that it really matters because it's fucking jewelry, right? It's not breaking my bank as far as inventory space goes. But I just don't want to freaking deal with it. If I'm being 100% honest with myself, I just don't. Yeah. So where's my gunpowder? Let's get that out of there. Like, I'm just gonna get rid of this too because it's broken. It's in my inventory broken. It's a crappy bow. I can get something better. So that's the start, I guess, right? I think now I go windward. Go to windward. Yeah, let's kick this shit out. To windward we go. Okay. What is here? This is where all my fucking... Oh man, I got more crap here. Wait. Okay. I'm not messing with this. Where am I? I do have that. Have that. I think I'm just gonna take that. I'll take that. I'm not messing with this. I'm not gonna have nearly enough to just. Oh man, got all kinds of platinum. Let's go. You know what? Let's go kill a bunch of wolves real quick since they're right outside. Gather some. gather some rawhide, and just do a bunch of crafting. So we have a freaking ass ton of like resources here. Of course, you gotta kill the turkeys too, right? Like, okay. I feel like we finally have a direction. Sorry, stream. I feel like that took a lot longer than I wanted to get rolling, right? Oh, of course. And now that I'm comfy, the cat wants to come and cuddle. Who would have guessed? Cat's gonna come cuddle. No, come on, sit down in the lap. There we go. Okay. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. Sorry it took me so long to kind of get rolling. But when your inventory's low, you just gotta take care of it. And no one really wants to be that guy that wants to be a hoarder. But let's all be honest, being a hoarder helps. It's just so much fun because when you need something, you just happen to have it. It's just right there. But so on the agenda for today, I just wanted to discuss Harry Potter in general, because I'm a nerd, and I'm mostly going to sit here and talk to myself for a couple hours. So why not talk about something I like? So, if you are listening, feel free to comment below what your favorite Harry Potter book is. Mine is Goblet of Fire. And that's because that's when it gets really substantive, I think. It's when you get the longer books that have a lot more detail, and you get more of a things happening in the background type story, right? Like, there's always that kind of air of someone being there in the background. Even from like Philosopher's Stone, Sorcerer's Stone, how you call it, because Voldemort's controlling Quirrell, whatever. But that's when you get like this deeper mystery with Barty Crouch Jr. and Moody, Mad Eye Moody. And so that's when I really enjoyed it. And it's the first like really long book, and that's when I fell in love. Well, I was already in love with Harry Potter, but that thing went from being like this big to like honker. And I appreciated that. I appreciated it a lot. And the funny thing is that book was followed up by my least favorite book. That being, and the Hall of Mysteries. What his name? God, I think I should know this by now. I don't like it so much that I've like pushed the name of the book out of my memory. Order of the Phoenix, that was it, right? And it's not that I don't think it's bad. It's my least favorite story out of them all, except maybe Prisoner of Azkaban. But I think I like Prisoner of Azkaban better, regardless, just because of the dynamic that it presents. And maybe I'm just biased in the fact that that's when they killed Sirius, right? And not that he was my favorite character, but that was a big emotional blow. And that was when we got our first kind of taste. Not really our first taste. Like our first taste of death in terms of someone close to Harry dying, right? Because up to here, you had the story starts out with his parents dying, and we find out more as that goes on. And I think you hear about a few other deaths over the years. Obviously, Quirrell dies in the first book. Basically, Harry kind of kills him in a weird way. You can make that argument. Well, I don't think that's exactly accurate. In the second book, no one dies. Well, I guess you could say the reincarnation of Tom Riddle dies, right? But I don't really count him as a person because he was never really there, or he was never fully formed. So in the third book, Sirius lives. I don't think anyone dies off the top of my head, and if they do, they're not close to Harry. But then you have Cedric, right? And Cedric, and this is kind of supposed to be this emotional thing, but he's not close to Harry. Him and Harry are schoolmates, but they don't have a very personal relationship. If anything, they're kind of rivals. Not so much in a like we hate each other way, but they're set up as rivals. And they both like Cho Chang. and they're both champions, or Hogwarts champions, right? And they're both like top Quidditch players. And this is something that's alluded to earlier on when, in the third book, when the Dementors, come and Harry falls off his broom and Cedric, ends up catching the snitch or whatever, and they win the match. So it's kind of a continuation of that little storyline. But they're not really close. Sure, they help each other out, blah, blah, blah. So in the fifth book is when we get to really experience death. And that's with the death of Sirius. Keep in mind, this is a character that some people really do enjoy. And it's his like parental figure, right? As a character, he's kind of painted, particularly in that book, as a loose cannon. Kind of doing what he wants, going where he wants, because he's, there's this cooped up thing. But it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? So, but he clearly builds a relationship with Harry. And so when he dies, that's like the first taste we really get of someone close to Harry, kind of, and it sets in the reality of the world and takes the books, and I don't want to it doesn't go deep, or like, it doesn't dive into the deep end of darkness, but it definitely gives it a little more serious theming, which is not bad. I think it was great. It was good for the story. Granted, his death doesn't affect us all the way Dobby's death did, because that was heart shattering. Reading that, oh, that crushed me. Still does. Don't care. Grown man. And Dobby's death made me cry. It's okay. I have almost recovered years later. I can still talk about it in person, which is a big improvement. But meh. So maybe I am biased because that was like the first time we got to experience that. But as like the story goes, I think it introduced some interesting elements. It also does a lot of explaining. Like, it builds up, or not really builds up, but it fills in some gaps as to like why Harry's scar hurts, right? Like, we get that whole they're connected type thing. Also, I don't really like it because of the way Dumbledore is towards Harry. It's part of like the tension that's built over the course of the story. It's like Dumbledore's being distant, Dumbledore this, and it's just very different. So I guess that could probably be another reason that I didn't like it. Not saying I don't think it's bad by any means. It was my least favorite. So whether you think it's biased or not, that's my answer. Granted, I guess I answered you what my favorite book was, right? And I already told you. So anyways, so yeah, I forget what I was going. I was trying to circle back Goblet of Fire, because also, if we look at the movies, I think that was where we saw a very big shift in the production of the Harry Potter movies, right? It obviously they had to tell a much larger story. I think which meant to them cutting things out a lot more, because up until now they were pretty faithful to the story, the books that were as they were written. Like the first one, Philosopher's Stone, is almost a direct like interpretation. Obviously, they did cut some small stuff, but overall, it was like like the main points were left intact. Like, sure, we didn't get Peeves, but in Harry Potter, or in the Goblet of Fire, we saw like a few major kind of detours away from the established story, such as they completely cut Winky out, right? And how that whole ties in, how that whole thing tied in. I feel like they cut out like so much, and I'm like, as I'm trying to think about it, I'm blanked. Maybe I should need to go back and read. I'm blanking because I'm thinking about Kakarot, and I feel like they kind of cut a little bit about that out too, and his involvement. but so Winky's still a pretty big character, right? Like she's someone who influences the story continually. She's a recurring character. Oh, that obviously deal with Winky. They cut out freaking uh the Hermione's little elf fucking defense force bullshit, right? And like do that tree mix. That was the year that they discovered the kitchens, right behind the portrait of fruit, whatever. And that's when they run into Dobby again. And they kind of cut that whole thing out. Speaking of cutting out, they cut out Dobby and the gillyweed, right? They still now it's Neville that randomly finds them and gives it to him. It doesn't quite work out the same way in terms of like flow of the story. Like it doesn't make as much sense, but it's also not terribly wrong because they can still have the whole Barty Crouch be like, well, I planted it there long ago, blah blah blah, which is true. But that's already like just three, not like pretty big detours, right there, instantly, because they're like why can't I think of the name? But the thing that Hermione spew, that's right, spew, haha, figured it, spew. It's a recurring thing in the books. Like it constantly comes up year after year after year. Winky and Dobby and like going in the kitchen, like that's something that they don't do every book. Obviously they can't do it in Deathly Hallows, but it's something that comes back around, right? And then with the whole Dobby helping Harry, it's very reminiscent of the second book in the way it goes down because, he tried to help him by almost killing him multiple times. So there's still like that kind of fun aspect. And it still made it work, but like overall, I think Goblet of Fire was the first time that there was this really big detour from the books. And it's this trend that we would see, and obviously as the books get longer, they have to cut more to make a good story. And I still think out of the movies, Goblet of Fire is one of my favorites. But that also probably stems from the fact that that's when we see Emma Watson in that freaking gorgeous pink dress. And yeah, that's when I decided I like girls, was when I watched that movie. Because how could you not fall in love with her, right? She's just gorgeous. Freaking absolutely just gorgeous. So yeah, I'm probably biased now with you. Although I still think I love like Sorcerer's Stone more, just because it's our first introduction to this world in film. And it's just so faithful to the source material. Fucking turkey die. Right? So the fact that it's extremely faithful is it doesn't skip over things. It doesn't miss things. So when we first see Diagon Alley, it's just this amazing, wonderful place in Gringotts. Like we get to visit Gringotts. We get to see Quidditch for the first time. Even the Leaky Cauldron like has its fun little aesthetic to it. And Hogwarts, like, it's just was amazing. And being able to experience all this and have it feel, because the book was so faithful, I mean the movie was so faithful to the book, it almost made it feel like that was just more of a faithful experience, right? Overall. So I think for that it's always going to hold a little magical place in my heart. Not saying that there other movies didn't do the same things in big ways, but that was just the first time. Like that was our first foray, and it just felt so. What's the word I'm looking for? So authentic, right? Authentic. I think authentic is the best way I can put it. Is it just felt like Harry Potter. It really did. They really nailed the aesthetic. They nailed everything about it. So it's always going to hold a special place in my heart. And I'm really happy about that. Like I'm glad. My least favorite movie, might be the Deathly Hallows too. and it felt more like they tried to make a summer blockbuster with like the whole Hogwarts battle and how that went down instead of like making a Harry Potter film. And I get that, they had to probably did certain things for ease of the narrative, but still, like the whole Battle of Hogwarts, it happens nothing like it does in the books. And the ending, like the whole duel, the whole ending duel between them, like meh, meh. It just wasn't the same. It didn't. No, it's still good. I still enjoy the movie because, well, the fuck could you not enjoy that? But yeah, I think that I'd also have to go back and watch them because I do have a tendency to watch the ones I enjoy more, and I haven't watched the Deathly Hallows in probably since they come out. Maybe I think I've seen it twice in my whole lifetime, versus I've seen the Sorcerer's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, Goblet of Fire. Like I've seen all the other ones a gazillion times. Well, not all of them, but the ones I really like, I've seen them a gazillion times. It's always the early ones, like yeah, Half-Blood Prince. Half-Blood Prince, actually, now that I think about it, might be. It's pretty up there. Like it's pretty close to being tied for like my favorite book. So I just really enjoyed it. I love the whole era of like who is the Half-Blood Prince and like doing all this magic, and it's just really like the adventures with Dumbledore and finding out all the backstory behind Tom Riddle. And there's just like this big looming mystery of like what's a Horcrux and how are we gonna deal with Slughorn. There's a lot of story, a lot of things going on that are all intertwined together, and I think it does it really well. And it's very intriguing, and I just really enjoy that narrative. So, yeah, so that might be. I'd have to go back and read them again. But even like I haven't watched that movie in a while either. So, yeah, I still think I have to go with Deathly Hallows, and I'm not including the whole Fantastic Beasts series, which it's kind of an odd name for the series if you look at what it follows, right? Because we have a lot of like the first one I think nailed it perfectly, Fantastic Beasts. Like it was really good and it was fun. It was kind of whimsical. You had the whole I don't remember the name of the thing, but the weird rhinoceros thing, like slipping on the ice in the park, and Jacob. Yeah, it was just fun. It was whimsical. It was. I think it was well cast. I enjoyed the characters. They were just really good. I could have cared less about the big reveal at the end of Johnny Depp. I think Colin Farrell did a wonderful job in his character, and then I think that well, now we have Grindelwald, and anyone who's with Harry Potter knows that Grindelwald is like this big bad guy, right? I'm tying it into that. Having just finally watched the second one years later, because I've just heard it was nothing but terrible, it left me with a lot of questions and a lot of I don't know how to. I look at it and I see a lot of logical things that don't line up. From perspective of a huge Harry Potter fan, right? Which is there. You can make it that way you want and call it nitpicky. But then, and you can watch all the YouTube videos about it. The Carlin brothers do a great series where they discuss basically everything. But the big reveal at the end is, one, Credence is alive. So like that whole thing was kind of interesting because of how Fantastic Beasts ends, right? Like he's basically destroyed, or yeah, you're told he's destroyed, right? You're not told. You basically watch it. Like you are left on the assumption he is dead. and then have him just randomly reappear at the beginning of the second one, and like that's the quick chase. So how did he get out? Like, how does he get away? Like, how does I want to know like how that happened? Please, just how did that happen? At all? Makes no fucking sense. And maybe I'm just missing something, which is completely possible. Right? But then it's like Grindelwald's like, well, we have to recruit him, assuming he lives. He saw the whole thing where blah blah, you know, what's his nuts becomes Grindelwald. And so now it just leaves me with even more questions. Like, okay, so like, what kind of, where are we going with? Like, how does he not understand what's going on here? So then, at the end of the movie, it's revealed that Credence is a Dumbledore. Or, so, okay, I should say, revealed might be the wrong word. He is told he is a Dumbledore. And then there's this Phoenix, and that's like, you know, Dumbledore, oh, Phoenix always, you know, it's the men of my family. That being said, keep in mind, Dumbledores are not the only ones in the history of Harry Potter that have Phoenixes, right? Like, sure, it's rare, but it doesn't mean that he's the only one. So having that Phoenix doesn't is not concrete, absolute, 100% proof. Now it does lean that way, right? It honestly, it does give credence, or it does give credence to that theory. But the thing that bothers me most is that we're told multiple times throughout the years, particularly the whole Harry Potter series, that Dumbledore has a brother and a sister, Ariana and Agaforth, right? And if you kind of like based upon Credence's age, he doesn't fit in that fucking timeline, unless his mother somehow survived, which I guess you could say happened if you really fucking wanted to. But what purpose does that serve? And then you could make the argument that, well, Credence is just a reincarnation of Ariana after she, you know, goes batshit crazy and like loses herself, right? So there's that argument, and then there's the argument that Dumbledore's mother actually lived. No one ever and was swindled away. Like the Carlin brothers have a whole video on it. Go watch it. It's an interesting theory. I don't think they are onto anything with it, but it's still an interesting theory. So all that. So I don't really understand how they get there with that, right? But I was not the same. It was not the same magical experience that Fantastic Beasts was. So having it, you know, Fantastic Beasts and the Crimes of Grindelwald, like, sure they still tied it into there, but it felt pushed, slightly pushed. Like think about all like what was introduced, right? You had don't get me started on Nagini. Like, how does Nagini play into this at all? I feel like that was just something that was shoehorned in there, so they could tie it into, you know, later movies. Like, oh well, this is Nagini early on, before she's like fully Snake. But a lot of like, there's only what two prominent creatures that ever show up here, and that would be the Chinese fucking lion thing. Forgive me, I don't know the name. That Newt, you know, frees from his chains and then befriends, and then escapes the French embassy with, or the French ministry with, right? That's the only prominent beast in the whole movie, besides obviously Pick. But Pick's, you know, an established character, and the Niffler. And the Niffler's not even prominent. Like he steals the blood pact, right? Then you have the familiars, but what? The familiars are just cats on steroids. You know, as we find once they leave the ministry, they're no longer a threat. So what? Um, so we take that, and then you could say the Phoenix, is prominent, but things you don't know it's a phoenix, right? Like you see Credence with this little bird, and then at the end, what's this? Grindelwald throws it and it becomes a phoenix, right? But for all we know, it's a chick. It doesn't really impact the story until the end. Has nothing to do there. So that leaves you with what, like 5 things, possibly. One of them would have had any prominence. 2 that slightly impact the story. And then you had a couple in passing, right? So you had like the fucking Chinese water demon or whatever. And then obviously, do you consider Nagini a creature or a beast? Well, at this point, she's still a human, right? She's still being she still has her human form. So, meh. Also, it seems like Nagini and Credence have a relationship. They have established something. And when I say relationship, like I mean like they know each other, right? And we kind of get a little hint at that when fucking the asshole running the freak show is, being an asshole. But we never understand why. We just see her going around with him and so on and so forth. And that being that. Which is fine. They don't necessarily have to have things, together. But we see them together at the end and he just kind of leaves her. I don't remember how she got out. If she obviously survives, right? Obviously she fucking survives the fucking fiery bullshit. Yeah, so I think that's like the end, right? And that's fine. As a movie, great. Grindelwald, is just very powerful. She does wonderful things. But why has it got to be a Fantastic Beast thing? Like, I feel like the naming of it could be wrong, and they just want to continue with the series. And I get why they went there, right? Like, from trying to intrigue viewers' perspective, like, yes, everyone wants to know about Grindelwald and Dumbledore and the first army, or the first war, Wizarding War, right? So it makes sense for them to go in that setting. And I think Newt as a character is great. I think, I don't even know the guy who plays him, but I think he's wonderful for the character. That was spot on casting. Congratulations, good job, you fucking nailed it. But if we're gonna name the whole series like Fantastic Beasts, I feel like we should be more focused on Newt and kind of like what he's doing and being more whimsical, more like the first. Now, that's just what I would like to see, but obviously, as it goes on, we'll see different things. Particularly, we're going to have to see a new villain. And by a new villain, I mean a recast, because Johnny Depp is no longer associated with the project due to his wife beating him. Or claiming he beat her. Whichever side you come down on, due to Johnny Depp's woes with Amber Heard. Who is what it is. So, which means you have to recast your second biggest villain in all of the Harry Potter universe, which I think may prove to be very difficult, because I think he was good as Grindelwald. Now, is it my favorite performance of his? No. I don't think you're ever going to be able to top Jack Sparrow. I just don't. He also plays a pretty damn good Mad Hatter in the first Alice in Wonderland film. Regardless of what you think about the film, I'm not a fan of it. I think he did really well there. He's had some other good roles over the years. But I think Jack Sparrow is like prime. But keep in mind, I mean like Pirates of the Caribbean 1 and 3 are like prime Johnny Depp. So, but I still like him as Grindelwald. He fits it. Like, he looks very much into the role. He has that look that he kind of has a presence. would I like a a little better performance? Like I feel like he could put more into it, yes. But in the day, does he have to? No. Like I still enjoyed the character. Um, and I would also like them to focus more. I think where they're gonna go with this next one is they're gonna focus a little more on Credence, right? Which is good. I think we need to build Credence up a little bit more as a character, right? Because we had this kind of building moment for him in the first film. You know, we see like this. He is like this beaten, battered child because fucking what's her nuts is literally beating the magic out of him. And so then, you know, like he snaps, does his thing, and then you know, like they're like, oh, we gotta hunt him down, blah blah blah, which is good. But you know, you kind of like you start feeling bad for him, like you know, he's suffering through this plight, like this hard thing, and really, they do a good job of pulling your heartstrings with that. Um, and in this movie, he's a MacGuffin. You know, he's the thing that they need to chase. He's what pushes the story along until the end, when it's just like, well, we gotta, you know, like, now we have to stop Grindelwald, right? Because, you know, we need to, like, show Creedence like, everyone's chasing him as trying to figure out, so he can figure out who he is. And then he just walks into Grindelwald's arms. After having met fucking Lolita Lestrange, and finding out that he is not whoever said he was, and the guy who was going to kill him knows nothing about him. So, like it's kind of like that was another issue I had. Like the driving of the plot was to find Credence, and then when they find him, they just walk into Grindelwald's arms. Like, why? He's having the secret meeting. Yeah, you don't need to. But Creed, I guess. Okay, so I guess never mind. Let me take that back a little bit. Grindelwald's like, yeah, go here. You have the answers, and he lures him. So I don't. So I think that okay, that makes a little more sense when I kind of remember. But still, it's not like they just go there looking for him. And Grindelwald knows where he's at the whole time. So it's just, I don't know. I feel like what is driving the plot forward there is just not, it's not good. It's not fun to interact. Like, if Grindelwald's not slow playing it, then the whole story doesn't happen, right? Like, if Grindelwald doesn't do all this setup, and like make him go off and do his thing, and basically plant it so that they can all go and meet up for whatever reason, then like there's no story. So like I just don't see the benefit there. I think it could have been no better. But those I think are my two big gripes. More creatures, better writing. More creatures, better writing. Hopefully, like I said, I think the next one we will hopefully spend more time building up Credence and kind of exploring like who he is. And I think it'll be interesting because we're going to see this kind of the opposite of a squib. You know, squibs are people who magic never manifests, and this is someone whose magic manifested and then was suppressed and became like this super powerful thing. And now we're trying to turn him, like trying to teach him how to harness that magic, right? And I also think it'll be interesting to see, like, because obviously Obscurals are just ridiculously strong. Does he maintain that power as he begins to channel it? Because I think, you know, he's far more powerful than most wizards in his that would be in his age group, right? And the way it's kind of described is that magic is a lot like talent, right? It's very or think of it like athletic ability, right? There are people that are just inherently good. They are just attuned to magic, and are particularly gifted, particularly in certain forms of magic. But there are also other people who are really good because they study really hard. Think of like Hermione Granger, right? She's a bookworm. She knows as much as she knows. She knows everything, and therefore she is a particularly good witch. I think is what she's called multiple times. Smart, right? Versus Harry. Harry has never flown a broom in his life, but he just inherently has this skill set where he excels at it. So all I have to say is like with Credence being an obscurus, is he going to be able to channel all that massive power that's just like imploding on itself? Is he gonna maintain that power level as a wizard? Is he even going to be able to be like a real wizard? Because now he goes from having these temper tantrum outbursts, and is the fact that he's such powerful fucking obscurial, is that because he maybe is a Dumbledore and they haven't in his are they more inherently attuned to being magical? Is that why he's just so incredibly just crazy powerful? Or is that how all obscurers are? Because we hear about his sister and like her issues, right? But we never understand like just exactly like how like what happens, and it's only speculated that she's also an obscurial. I'm sure that'll be confirmed, or I wouldn't be surprised if they confirm that in going forward in another movie. Right? It would only make sense for it to be a thing. From everything they've hinted at and gone forward with, that's what makes the most sense. So then, do we get to find out like she was also that powerful, or was she just not? Like what happened there, right? And we also, that'll be a little bit like different because she was attacked by 3 boys, and like kind of like had her, if she manifested as an obscure, it was under different circumstances, which makes things very different for everyone else. So I think there's a lot of questions to be answered, and I look forward to where they go with it. I hope that they do bring Johnny Depp back, but if they don't, I wouldn't be surprised. It is what it is in this day and age. One, I don't think he beat his wife, but 2, you can literally have men get paid to beat women for money. Well, to fight in MMA. Yes, I'm talking about transgender women, biological men, who get paid to beat women, and he gets accused of it, and he can't be talked about. But we will gladly call the other one brave, beautiful, and strong. Like there's such a double standard there that it's kind of fucking ridiculous, right? And I don't believe he did what he was accused of being. I have not seen the evidence that has overwhelmingly swayed me to say that yes, he definitely beat his wife. So I'll leave that up to you to answer, or discuss, or I'll leave it up to you to have your beliefs about and do what you wish with. So yeah. Now, I say all that. Let's bring it back to a more happy note. Harry Potter, right? What else? What else is there? I'm trying to think. I think those are my biggest gripes in regard. Oh, Queenie. What? Queen. I'm sorry, but I don't really. I get her motivation. I totally get it. It makes sense. It's very like, oh, love you, blah, blah, blah. Which is, what? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing inherently wrong with that, right? My problem is when Jacob's pleading with her, like, no, babe, don't do this. And her whole motivation is to do it for him, right? She doesn't listen to him at all. She's like, without even hesitation. And we all can sit there and we're like, oh man, he's right. Like, he knows. He can see, and his instincts are like, this is bad. This is a bad thing. We can't be doing this thing. And she doesn't give him any time of day. And like, I don't know. I'm not saying I don't think she should have went with Grindelwald. I just think I would have liked to have seen a like more of a back and forth there, like and her arguing her perspective and like why she thinks she's right. Instead, I feel like it was very blunt and wasn't quite articulated very well. And I wish they maybe would have done that a little bit better. Ugh. Because that's what you want to see her perspective on things. Like you want to understand why this is going on, but you don't feel for her. Like there's nothing there, and you're just like, okay, that's the thing. And that was all I could think about. I was like, well, why is she like? She's not even listening to him. She's just randomly decided like this is what I'm gonna do, and this is how it's gonna be because I think this is better. But there's no like she never defines her logic, even though you can follow it, right? Like you still kind of understand like she's doing it because she loves him, and where she's from, like that's forbidden. Like he is the forbidden fruit, and she wants the forbidden fruit, and she sees this as the only way to get the forbidden fruit and be happy with it. But she never like explains that to Jacob. Like there's no moment where like they have a reconciliation of what's going on. She just decides that what she's doing is better, regardless of what he has to say about it. Even though he's inherently right that she's getting into some bad things. Now, do I think that like I said, I'm not saying she shouldn't have went with him. I think it adds a little more dynamic, particularly because now, like, we all know with Tina being her sister, like that adds that little extra dynamic of like, well, now my sister's on the wrong side, and it just builds a little more tension in the story, which I don't, whatever, like that's fine if that's how we're gonna play things, that's how we're gonna play things. Um, but still, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more there. It just didn't rub me right. Also, uh, at the end, why is Newt not arrested? Right? Because he's told if he leaves England, he will be arrested. Whatever, blah blah blah. And then he leaves England and comes back. But they clearly know he was seen by multiple. Like he was seen in the department or the fucking French Ministry of Magic or whatever they call it in the movie, but the equivalent of the France's Ministry of Magic, right? He's seen there, like that's undisputable. He's also seen by several, or by at least his brother and probably several other Aurors. Some of them survived, some of them didn't, right? His brother definitely survived and definitely saw him there. Um, so how does he avoid repercussions, right? And I'm not saying like I need to have an intimate understanding of what went on there, but it was something that was I felt kind of glossed over. I wanted some resolution to that. Uh, yeah, I feel like I want a little bit of that. Otherwise, it's like what there's no consequences for defying the ministry at that point, right? And there's supposed to be some of this meddling thing. They go and they shackle Dumbledore, which is that what we want to call it? When they put the thing on his wrist and well, every spell you're doing, like I have a feeling that he probably could have far exceeded like that. If he didn't want to wear those things, he wouldn't have been wearing them. It's very much like the whole when he like Fudge and them try to take him to his office, and he's just like, "Nah, I'm good, I'm out, bye." And then he deuces out, and has that fucking that. And Shacklebolt's like, "Well, you got to give it to him, right? He has style." So we understand that, like he's very much like he can hold his own in many respects. and he's also supposed to be the brightest wizard of his time. The only one Dumbledore, I mean, only one Voldemort feared. Grindelwald won't fight him, so on and so forth. Is there war day? Sorry, I need to. Is there war? There's. Oh, I guess I should go sign up for that, huh? Meh, who cares? Fuck it. What was I going at? Dumbledore. Oh yeah. So, like, I just feel like it really makes the Ministry seem like they're worthless, right? Like, oh, we can't even enforce this basic thing against this. Um, like Newt's still a good wizard. I don't know how to what to phrase him. Like, what do I call him? Like, I don't want to call him mundane wizard because he's still less practical. Let me say that, less practical, or as he calls it, simple, right? The whole Grindelwald, doesn't understand things he considers simple. Like Newt is very simple, but he's still magnificent in his accomplishments. His little briefcase is great. He has immense knowledge about all these different animals. So, but if the Ministry can't even enforce simple binding laws against this guy, then what the hell are we doing? Like, how are we ever supposed to take them serious when they're supposedly shackling, Dumbledore, who's the most the most powerful? I don't want to say most powerful. Who is the most accomplished? Well, he's. I don't like saying powerful, right? I feel like powerful is just the wrong word. Um, who's the greatest wizard of his time? There, I think that's the best way I can put it. Like, if there's no repercussions for Newt, then how the hell are you ever gonna rein in Dumbledore, let alone Grindelwald, right? Grindelwald is this immensely powerful dark wizard, and you can't even keep one wizard inside the freaking country and punish him when he leaves, and he left. Like, no wonder you guys are getting butt stomped by Grindelwald. So I think it makes the Ministry look so incompetent constantly, over and over and over, and they are like that is a running theme of the Harry Potter series, right? That's a big thing with Fudge, particularly after uh, Goblet of Fire, right? Like him and the whole Ministry denies the return of Voldemort. That's where you get Dolores Umbridge and God, that terrible woman. But it's just sheer incompetence, and even after that, uh, you get what's his name, the grouchy old Aura, who tries to get Harry to be his little buddy poster boy and spy on Dumbledore, like but then they lock there's a story about how they lock up Stan Public or whatever his name is, the night bus guy, and like they're just incompetent. Like that's the one consistent thing. So when it's like, oh well, we can't get a hold of Grindelwald, like, well, no, duh, you guys are terrible. Like you're terrible. Um, and so then it's like, and it's funny because you think about it, like, if y'all had this much trouble with Grindelwald, like, no wonder y'all didn't want to believe that Voldemort was back. Because, homie, Voldemort's a whole different level. Say what you want, say what you will. I think that Voldemort was, um, even I'm not gonna argue power level because, like I said, I don't think that's. I think it's, but from an ideological place, like Grindelwald, I think cares about magical people in a way that Voldemort doesn't. Voldemort, his big thing is like being pure blood, right? And this is kind of but he also wants to destroy Muggles, and he just has no care whatsoever about all that. Uh, versus Grindelwald, at least in the movies, is portrayed as someone who he doesn't want to extinguish Muggles, or make them completely subservient. he just wants to like integrate into the world, like and like stop hiding and like have wizards as I think is he does he say dominant? I don't know if he says dominant, but his speech at the end, like he's trying to play like, listen, we're done. Like there's a place for them in our world. We can cohabitate, and this is a big draw for Queenie, right? So I think that ideologically, I think that Voldemort is a much more dangerous person, right? He kills indiscriminately. Like he does not care. He is more than happy to kill anyone in his way to get what he wants. Versus Grindelwald, well, he's still yes, he's willing to kill. He's much more plotting and maniacal, right? He's very persuasive, so he doesn't necessarily need the brute force to be just this raw power, even though he's extremely powerful in his own right, right? So there's that aspect, but back to the whole thing is like if the Ministry couldn't deal with Grindelwald, then how the hell are they ever going to deal with Voldemort? Right? And they never really do. Like no one ever really does in Harry Potter. Voldemort deals with himself, which is the unique thing about that. And it's one of those like the old proverb like we create our worst enemy, and that's what Voldemort literally does. Like he creates his own downfall. Um, versus so I would say like I said, if the Ministry can't deal with Grindelwald, then there was never a world in which they could have ever dealt with Voldemort. Okay, and they're two very like I said, they're very different villains. They have different stories. It is what it is. So, but yeah, sheer incompetent. Like I don't. When is the Ministry ever shown to be competent? Like truly competent? Like what the first book they're not around, right? They're not really there. Like we understand they're there. They're there. Second book, Harry gets a fucking little letter because of Dobby's hover charm. Third book, he gets upset. I don't know if he meets Fudge and gets hey, you shouldn't have left home. You shouldn't have blown up your aunt. Blah blah blah. But it's all good. We took care of it. Then the third year? Oh, that's also Dementors, right? But that's a very different thing. They try and kill Buckbeak. Like they're completely manipulated by Malfoy, which I'm starting that like another place of incompetence. Like they literally have these terrible, terrible people working for them constantly, and they just don't care. Like there's always Fudge is always at their whim. So then fourth year, so at the world fucking Quidditch Cup, right? They have the whole Death Eater March and the Dark Mark, and like that whole snafu goes on right underneath their nose, right underneath their nose. So that's just more pure incompetence. Then on top of that, the whole fifth year they have the whole they refuse to acknowledge that Voldemort is even back, right? They they completely just sweep that one under the rug, or at least attempt to. Blows up in their face when Voldemort literally appears in the Ministry of Magic, and they're like, "Oh well, I guess we have to acknowledge it now, right?" Like, so what's sixth year? Sixth year is when they ramp up security, um, and I'm trying to think. Is that when they starting to ask Harry to like spy on Dumbledore? I think it is. I have to go back and relook, but pretty sure that's when that happens. So that happens. So, they really don't have too many snafus, right? Sixth year. Obviously, yes. There's increased security. No one really gets in or out. Obviously, Malfoy gets past them all, but they don't have any big fucking blunders for first time. And obviously, at Deathly Hollows, like shit just goes south. The Ministry just becomes basically completely taken over by Voldemort. Um, and yeah, at that point, obviously, it is what it is. So, yeah, like you don't see any ministry, like there's not really any ministry in Fantastic Beasts because it takes place in America. This is where you see Tina, right? This is where you meet Tina. Um, I don't know if there's any confidence shown by the American ministry. Obviously, the French ministry is fucking trash too. They get broken into twice. Once by Grindelwald's followers, and then second time by Newt and Tina, and then they get broken out of. Like the fuck? Like there's no competent government officials ever shown in this. The only one would like we all love our Arthur Weasley, but has he ever actually do anything good? Like I'm sure he loves his job, and we always hear about the terrible times he has with all the bullshit, right? But like I don't know if he's ever made directly like large impacts due to his government job. You can argue, well, he's just a muggles, blah blah. Like that's fine. It is what it is. Not trying to crap on the character, just trying to crap on his position at the ministry, which is just like I said, ministry is just worthless. There's no good ministry workers besides Oris, and even then they're like meh. Like sure we all love Tonks and Shacklebolt and Moody, but Moody left the ministry, blah blah blah. But you never really see anyone else. Like Barty Crouch just a fucking asshole the whole time we see him. And then what's his nuts? The guy that the fucking Weasley twins win a bet with. He's in the fourth book. I can't remember his name. He's the one getting chased around by trolls and shit because he's a betting Bane. Like he's not very good. Yeah, there's like the ministries. All the ministry officials are just extremely incompetent. So incompetent. A lot of like in the way they do. It's just okay. Well, I'm done. They're trash. Government's trash. Moral of the story. Thank you, J.K. Rowling, for teaching us that. Oh. Like even though, yeah, I can't even think of one single example where they did anything really like good. They're extremely inconsistent in the way they. Oh, damn. Yep. Okay. Yep. We didn't even talk about the jailbreaks, right? Like Sirius breaking out of Azkaban, them losing control of Dementors, then the other massive breakout. Like, yeah, that's a whole nother bad look for him, man. Okay, we're done. We're done talking about ministry. Yes, they're trash. We know it. They're trash. Just let it be, right? Just let it be. We just gotta let it be. Okay. Oh, also, I will say I did forget the thresholds that you see in the beginning of Crimes of Grindelwald. They're the ones pulling the carriage. You do see them, but they're also a creature that we've already been exposed to in Harry Potter. Being, I know we were exposed to them in the books. Are we exposed to them in the movies? They would have been in the sixth book or the fifth book. Sorry, after the death of Cedric. When I think we do. I think because Luna's there. Yeah, I think you do see him in the movies. I forget the scene, but they're there. But we see him again. So there's more beasts in Fantastic Beasts and the Crimes of Grindelwald than I initially stated. Also, we see the little fucking lizard thing. Don't know what that is. It's still a creature. So maybe I have to withdraw that critique that there were not as many creatures, but I still think it was not as fun and whimsical. So we'll find out. We'll see. Maybe the next one's better. Maybe it isn't. It could have been much worse. But yeah, so there's that. What else is there? Garbage ministry, more creatures. I'm lost. What else? Well, like, I don't know. Sorry. Let me just reset my brain real quick. I need to finish fishing. Oh, that was a terrible fucking cast. Come on, let's get this goodies. This hole's gonna land forever. Or last forever. We've been doing this for like 30 minutes already. Just fishing. I don't think I've searched one provision crate. So I apologize for the title. Clearly it was clickbait, but it's working. I can tell from my one viewer that's sitting here just biting the chop for me to go gather cauliflower. My one viewer is probably me, right? So it's fine. Okay, we're done. Oh no no no! Bring it back! Bring it back! Okay. I'm gonna get more water because my throat's thirsty. Okay, sorry for that brief intermission. I know you guys hate to be left waiting, but I'm back now, and we continue on. Uh, oh, I'm sitting there trying to skin it. Like, no, that's not how this works, bro. Y'all need to tell me this. So what do I want to talk about now? We kind of discussed all the bullshit. I don't really care. Talk about housey. And by houses, I mean, Harry Potter house, obviously. I really don't care to talk about adult houses because that means talking about adulting, and adulting's fucking hard. There's what, meh, rooms, meh. I wonder. So let's think about their candy, right? Particularly chocolate frog. Like, I feel like that would just be super fucking weird. Like eating a frog. Like, does it like if you bite off a leg, does it break the enchantment, or does it keep trying to hop around as you slowly fucking murder the thing? Like, which is it? Does it die? Does it not? Does the enchantment wear out? Like, I feel like that'd be weird, right? It's like those people that eat those. It's like not those people, but I think it's in Japan or China where they eat octopus balls. Right? They're little balls are tentacles. They're squiggling around as they're being cooked, and like, or they pick them up and literally eat them. Like, you get a suction cup to your esophagus. I imagine it would probably be something like that. Maybe a little bit different though, right? So it just slows. Good enough. Doesn't do any damage. Right. So, but is it like that where it doesn't break the enchantment, or? It'd just be a weird feeling. Like, you imagine you swallow one of those whole, right? Does it like start jumping in your stomach, just like a baby kicking? and also are chocolate frogs the only thing they have enchantments for? Because I also feel like I could definitely see them having like gummy worms that just wiggle around, like shit like that. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure there's something on Pottermore. Sure, I have a solid answer somewhere. I can't be the first person who's ever had this conundrum. But if you know the answer, feel free to leave a comment. I do appreciate all of it. Yeah, so also, Bernie Bot's every flavored beans. Like, I know it says they mean every flavor, but do they seriously mean every flavor? Like, how? Like, how would you do that? Like, there's got to be something that just there's not a flavor for, right? Like, what is the most obscure thing you can think of? Um, like, there's got to be something they just don't have a flavor for. Like, there's bogey flavored ones. They talk about having vomit. Like, hmm. Hello? Like, there's got to be a limit. And I don't know where. Like, what would the limit be? Like, I don't know. I I'm 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 stuck on this one, chat. Like, what would be the limit on every flavored jelly beans? Like, they clearly have disgusting flavors. They're gonna have good flavors because it's candy. What about like boiled or sorry, pickled eggs? Like, do we think they have pickled eggs? Do we think they have pickled eggs? I don't think they have pickled eggs. But I feel like that's something like obscure that they would have simply because of the whole every flavor title. Maybe what about like Rod Trout or something like that? Like something just kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. I will never know, unfortunately, because I'm a mere muggle. Hmm. I don't know. Now the question is, would I try them all? And I don't think I'm quite brave enough for that, if I'm being completely honest. Uh, Mostly because I feel like there's just a little bit too much risk in that for me. Like I'm sure you get I would be willing to bet that the good flavors are much better than the worst flavors, and there's more of them. Like there's a better ratio. But like if there's every flavor, like you gotta imagine that there's some really, really, really bad flavors, right? Like there's just some abhorrently like just disgusting stuff in there. But I'll never know. I will never know. So I've asked you about your favorite book. I asked you about your favorite movie. Who is your favorite character? I know there's so many good ones to choose from. Um, and let me caveat this. So we'll do two. Who is your favorite out of the core three, or like a main character? And who is your favorite out like in the supporting cast? Um, Ready, set, go. So out of the core three, if we're talking about the books, um, I don't know. I don't know. Like I really I haven't thought about this. Unfortunately, not enough. Um, I, like maybe Ron. like well, no, okay. Well, there are a lot of things I like about Ron. Um, one, he's just, a good guy in general. He definitely stumbles quite a bit, particularly at the end. But he's also kind of a fucking asshole. Like he's truly kind of like an asshole. Maybe that's why I resonate with him, because I'm kind of a dick too. But like if you think about how much here's the thing I don't like. I don't think that him and Hermione should end up together. I think that was not ideal. Not very good writing. Like as much as they bitch and fight at each other, and like it's just not good. Like they don't have a healthy friendship. If they don't have a healthy friendship, how the hell are they gonna have a healthy relationship? Would it surprise you if I told you they're not? Like it's just I don't think that's not a good look. It just isn't. And a lot of that is on Ron, if I'm being completely honest. Like he's just kind of a prick. He's very jealous, right? And this is not something we just see with Hermione. This is something we see when pops up with Harry, particularly like the Goblet of Fire. When Harry gets chosen, he basically says Harry like did it and left him out of it, and is super jealous, right? Like this is your best friend, right? And you're gonna say these things about him and treat him this way? And he's always kind of like in the background because, oh, we did it, chat. We fucking found the cauliflower. This is successful. It didn't take me. It took me the first crate I opened. This is the cauliflower spot, I promise you. I just wish I need to find another one because. Anyways, yeah. So he's just a fucking jealous prick, right? So we see that then, but we also see it with, in the Half-Blood Prince, when the Slug Club gets created and he's not part of it. And McLaggen and Hermione and that whole fucking thing. So he's like, that's just an issue altogether. He has extreme issues in the third book with fucking Scabbers and Crookshanks, and he treats Hermione terribly over that. And it's not the first time. Like he treats her like shit in the fourth book. When he gets done treating Harry like shit, he just moves right on to Hermione. And he's kind of just a fucking prick that whole book. The fifth book, I forget what the drama in the fifth book is, but yet again, surprise, surprise, it's Ron, right? Like we all know how that goes. Why you not taking? Why you, bitch? You need to go down. So there's that. I think in the first book, right? He's the one that starts the whole drama with Hermione that leads to them becoming friends. Like he's over there talking shit like a fucking prick. So I have to say, I guess Hermione's my favorite out of the three of them. Like you can't just root for Harry. He's inherently he's gonna be good anyway. Simply being from the show being or from the story being his story. So I think we'd all be inherently biased just well, Harry Potter's the best, right? But then there's Luna, right? She's just fun. She's solid. She's good people. She's very loyal, very strange, but not strange in like a I was gonna say not strange from being an odd perspective, but definitely strange from like an odd perspective, right? Because she is herself, but she's just a good character. She's just everything you want from a good supporting character, right? She's has all the great qualities. She's always there when you need her. She definitely has a couple times where she like helps to push the plot. but she's also someone that Harry can relate to, particularly when it comes to like the thresholds. Right? She's the only other person who's seen death. So when that's going on, she's a big part of the fifth book, and like kind of integral to that story. You know, and just for those you who don't know, she does not find Harry on that train. That was Tonks. Tonks is someone who gets glanced over. Do they even show her death in Deathly Hollows? They have to, right? Like, there's no way you can talk about Tonks and like do all that Voldemort bullshit and not have um and not have her be an integral part of that, because she really was. And she's kind of like, you know, comedic relief, whatever. Because she's what do they call it, where you can change all your shit, which is fine. Like, I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just like, in this, Tonks is the one that finds Harry, and I think, you know, she has a really good kind of role she plays, and she's not like a supporting character. She's just like a background character who's very skilled and very helpful at times. You know, like she's just a good character. But Luna is, you know, she definitely, particularly in the fifth book, she plays a pivotal role, and even moving forward, like, you know, she's part of the DA, or Dumbledore's army, so she shows up, you know, throughout, and then in the Deathly Hollows, you know, like, they go to like her house, and then that's when they meet her father, and he like betrays them, and they blow everything up, and then they like kind of like blah 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 blah, right? And that whole thing goes down. But then they go and they rescue her from Malfoy Mansion, and you know, finally, like, she's been like pretty much beaten. She's sitting there with Ollivander and Griphook, and like she's putting up a hell of a fight, and then she still shows up to fight in the Battle of Hogwarts. Like, you know, like, tell me Luna's not a badass. And she's not someone you can dislike. You may not like her character, but you don't dislike her character, if you know what I mean. Like, there's nothing really truly bad about her. Like, you may think that there's, you know, she's maybe not the best character, which is entirely fine. She comes off to some as doofy, because she's kind of like, she's presented as this like outside kind of weirdo character. But the nice thing is she doesn't care, right? Which I think is why, in other words, she's important as a character, like for kids, because a lot of kids get bullied, and she gets fucking bullied, and she's just like, meh, whatever. Like, when she's talking about her shoes, like, going lost, like, they always come back at the end of the year, and then she ends up finding them at the end of the year, hanging up on some fucking, you know, some like beam or something, right? So, like, I think as a character, she's also really important in showing like what she represents. So then you have Jenny, and she's always there. Like, even from book one, she's always there, which is not bad. I'm not knocking that. I'm not saying that's a good or bad thing. But she definitely, as the series goes on, becomes more kind of integral to it. Granted, she is like at the center of. Well, I don't know if she's very involved in the second one, obviously, with the whole diary, and then we find out like it was her that stole it, and it was her that threw it away, and it was her that did this and her that did that. So she's very much like involved in that story. But then, you know, a story as it goes on, you know, we see her a little bit here and there, and then we kind of see like her whole love life get exposed. I think it's in the fifth book a little bit, and in the sixth book, obviously, we have the whole romance between her and Harry, like, comes at the end. So we have that, but she's always like really shown to be a strong character, a very capable individual, which is good. Obviously, she's a redhead, so I'm going to be biased and be a fan. But yeah, so she's another good supporting character. Then you have Neville, right? And I think Neville is just he's very much he's very similar to Luna, right? He's kind of this character on the outside, um, but he's not quite a weirdo, I guess is the only way I can really put it. You know, he's doofy, he's forgetful, but he's also kind of a mirror of Harry. You know, whereas Harry's very confident in what he does and his abilities. Neville is not. Uh, so like, um, where's it going with this? I had a whole point. I was trying to line up to this. He's very, yeah, like I said, he's very confident when he does, right, Harry? Neville isn't. Neville's not on top of things. Like Neville's not. Neville, you know, Harry kind of starts. I don't want to say starts at the top, because he definitely starts out. Not depending on how you want to list it, he's not at the top. But as far as Gryffindors go, he is. You know what I mean? And Neville really builds and builds and builds to become an integral part of the Gryffindor dynamic, right? And he becomes, you know, he's like a big character at the end, right? Because he's the one leading the charge. And, you know, he's the one fighting against the Carrows. And just, like, he's kind of like, he steps up as a character there. And we see that development over the books. Which is what we see with, you know, obviously you want character development all over the place. But he starts off from a really low place. And then we find out about what happened with his family. And, like, he becomes a very sympathetic character. He's like, I think he's kind of destroyed in that light. Or he's not destroyed, he's portrayed in that light as someone you could root for, right? Because you found out, well, he's a forgetter kid. He's kind of like this doofus, and no one cares. Like, he's not really great, but he's also, you know, he gets bullied by Draco Malfoy because Draco's an asshole. But then you find out about what happens to his parents. Then you find out about the prophecy, and you're like, wow, that could have been it. And you're like, well, maybe that changes things. Like, this is like one of the biggest things is like, well, what if it was Neville? Would this prophecy have changed everything about his life? Like, would we have the Neville we know and love? And you can say yes or no either way, but I think no. Right? I don't think, no, that's not to say that Harry was who he was because of the prophecy. But to say that, you know, Harry was definitely Harry, and the prophecy impacted his life and changed its outcome. So to say that, you know, Neville would not have been different had the prophecy been about him. You know. Also, you can make the argument that the prophecy was about him, because well, anyways, all that bullshit aside, we're operating on the basic assumption that Harry is the chosen one, right? Is what it is. That's where I line up in my beliefs. If you're different, that's great. I hear you. I don't see the support for it. Not saying you know, but that's part of being like a fan, is we can all have different interpretations. So, but he's the one who kills Nagini at the end. You know, and he does a lot of big things over the years. Like, he helps Harry with the gillyweed in the movie, depending on where you want to go. Like, you know, but he also does, like, when was it? He takes on Crabbe and Goyle. Like, he literally, like, tries to fist fight two of the biggest, beefiest boys that are, you know, kind of protagonists in the story by himself. Like, he's always down to scrap. He's extremely loyal, although he may not be the most talented, right? But he's still someone you want by your side. So, there's that. Another good supporting character. So then you have Lupin, right? Lupin's a pretty good one. You could argue, like, he's very much one of the mentor characters that Harry has over his years. Because you have Lupin, you have Dumbledore, you have Sirius, right? Those are kind of like the three active father figures in Harry's life, up to some degree. Sirius is kind of reckless. You have Lupin, who's very protective, but also smart in the way he addresses things, right? But so I guess you could definitely say that he's a very like integral figure, if not a great supporting figure, to Harry and father figure. But he has big influences on the overarching story, particularly when he shows up in the third one. And he starts giving Harry private lessons. This is the first time we get this like idea, which I didn't realize it's become such a running theme with him, right? But that's when he starts taking private lessons to fight Dementors. Then he gets private lessons from Snape, and then he gets, fucking private lessons from Dumbledore. Like, Harry needs to, for being such a great wizard, Harry needs a lot of remedial schooling. But yeah, but still, Lupin's like still this integral character. Like he shows up multiple times. Even Deathly Hallows, like he shows up to kind of offer. I don't know if offer advice is the right, like, but he shows up as a supporting character at Grimmauld Place. When the group's on the run. And he's active in the background, obviously being Order of the Phoenix. So yeah, no, I don't think he ever plays quite as big a part as he does in the third book. He's still there. He's still, impacting the story. He's still providing help. Like multiple times, him and Harry talk about things. Hell, you can make an argument that Arthur is somewhat of a father figure. I swear I can speak. I swear I know English. Is somewhat a father figure to Harry, depending on how they interact, like how you view that whole interaction. But if you're going to consider Arthur, then you definitely have to consider Lupin as a father figure. Like that's just, like that's a no-brainer. You can make an argument. I don't know if you can make a full argument that Arthur's a solid supporting character. Like he's like secondary character. He is a supporting character. He should. Him and Molly. And they do have an impact. And obviously I think he has a larger impact in the fifth book than he does in other places. But I guess also, like he's in the second one. Like they fly his fucking car to school. In the third one, he pulls Harry aside, and they discuss some things, particularly in regards to like Sirius, and like because I think Sirius is out to kill him. So there's a lot of like goodies that go on here and there all throughout that whole story. And Arthur's not always the center of it, but he plays his part. Him and Molly, particularly when Molly shows up and starts fucking dueling Bellatrix and beats her ass. Like that was just fun. That was just a great moment. I'm sorry, but Molly Weasley, now that's a badass bitch, right? She's just like, how dare you attack my daughter, and just goes off and just, oh man. Don't get between a mother and her child, especially if that mother's named Molly Weasley. That bitch will fuck you up. I would argue, oh man, the fucking Weasley twins are just, they're amazing support characters. And they're very integral to a lot of the story. If not directly, very indirectly. Particularly like after the third book. Because you think about like the Marauders map and the role that plays. Because that's a reoccurring like item. And that was given to Harry by the twins. The secret passage he uses, like, yeah, again, this is something that the twins, helped him out with, like, all the Weasley wizard wheezes and all that stuff that comes up, like the extendable ears, the puking pastries or pastels, and all that stuff. Like The Peruvian freaking darkness powder. Like, there's all kinds of little things that ways they impact the story. Also, you know, the whole thing that they have going on the fourth year. They're very integral in the fifth year. You know, with the Dumbledore's army, and then clapping freaking Underbridge cheeks, like making that bitch go yada yada yada. Yeah, like they're very good. They show up at the end for the Battle of Hogwarts. Um, like they're just good supporting characters, right? I'm trying to think what else. Like I feel like there's a little bit more. Oh, they're always on the Gryffindor Quidditch team. Like they're big help all over, and they're very like very big parts of the story, which I appreciate. Um, I feel like I've talked a lot about a lot of the fucking Weasleys, right? Which is not a bad thing, I guess. Um, so we got Neville, we got Luna, we got Jenny. I love you, Jenny. Dobby. That's another good one, huh? Dobby is like, and I think this is more for definitely more for book readers than moviegoers, but Dobby is someone. He's like a beloved fucking character. Like when they killed Dobby, that was just man. That was something else. Like I don't think anyone saw that coming, right? And like Dobby's just been there since the second book. Like you don't see him until what the fourth book with the whole Winky thing. Um, but he's always like he pops in and out. But when he's around, he's like integral to the story. Like even when he pops up with Creature, and that's kind of like their way of bringing him back. I think into focus, right? Because he's not actually really there, and then he shows up with Creature and all, and then like and like I said, even though he's not constantly there, um, when he's around, like he's a beloved character. I will say that I think that killing Hedwig was much worse, but Hedwig is Hedwig, right? Like she's been Harry's like since she's been with Harry since the beginning. So that was very sad. But when Dobby died, like he died sacrificing himself, much like Hedwig did, um, for Harry, right? He takes the knife after teleporting them out, and so it's very much in character. And like he's always trying to help Harry Potter. Like he's always trying to like talking about how great Harry Potter is and like all the great things he's done. But he's always trying to help him, and it's funny that he eventually the one time he's not trying to kill Harry, okay, well, depending on what, but he starts out by trying to kill Harry, and then the whole Gillyweed thing, you can argue, well, they're just kind of like, he's just going to kill me, right? 'Cause he doesn't want to drown. It kills Dobby. Like, it's very poetic, I think, in the way he goes out. Still really sad, but he's just a great supporting character. Just so sad when he dies. And you also have Hagrid, right? And you're like, well, Hagrid's just a teacher. Hagrid's more of a friend. Like, Hagrid's different than McGonagall and different than Dumbledore in a certain way. Like, he's also there from the beginning, right? Like, he is the one. He is how Harry finds out he is a connection to this fucking magical world. This big giant oaf thing knocks down this door, gives his cousin a fucking pigtail, and then takes him off to like whisks him off to his better life after giving him like his first birthday cake. And well, yeah, I think Hagrid is portrayed as being very simple in certain aspects. It's also funny. Like if they do, I think he does a really good job in the movie. He's like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. I definitely should have said that. Like, it's just like he says fun, but he's never mad about it. Like, he only ever really cares about their well-being, right? He's not doing it to, he's not trying to keep stuff from them to be an asshole. He's trying to do it because he genuinely doesn't want them to be involved because it's dangerous, right? And then at the end, it's very poetic that, um, when we first see Harry, we see him being, carried and he shows up in Hagrid's arms on the motorbike. And then, if you want to say like the last time you really see Harry, or like, not really see Harry, how do I want to phrase this? But like the last time you see Harry in that same aspect, because this is like right coming out of the forest, is he's in Hagrid's arms too. Like that wasn't a mistake. Like that was very much done on purpose. It's very nice for like foreshadowing and theming, and it's symbolism, right? It's great, and so that was pretty fantastic. I thought that was great. But he's always there. He's always extremely supportive. He doesn't necessarily always drive story, but he's never like blocking it. He does become, well, to be fair, he does drive a lot of the story around. So like think about it, like year 3 with the whole Buckbeak, him becoming care for magical creatures. The 4th year with the blast-ended Scroots. The 5th year with coming back from getting his ass beat by the giants and dragging his half brother along with him, and of course, his love for fucking monsters means he's gonna bring his half giant brother with him and take care of him, which is like Hagrid's just like a very lovable character. It's very much like your gentle giant, right? Like this is the kind of the role he fulfills. Is he is the gentle giant and everything, which is fan-fucking-tastic. So he's a really good supporting character as well. I don't know. Is there any other like really? You can make the argument Hedwig is a supporting character. Well, she has personality, and she's definitely helpful in the fact like she's delivering mail. She's interacting with Harry and kind of like they have their own dynamic. I don't know if I would call her a full fleshed out character. I'm here to listen to the argument if you want to have it, but at the same time doesn't mean I'm just gonna roll over for you. I on an agreement. So we point out that Ron's an asshole. Let's at least talk about Hermione. I think she's like the one person we have not talked about, right? Outside of Harry, but we're not going to talk about Harry because Harry's Harry. She's obviously smart, obviously brainy, extremely helpful in the knowledge and she provides. Like, do they ever portray her in a negative light? Like, everything's kind of, I guess you could say with the whole Crookshanks thing, like, she definitely bears partial blame, right? Like, Scabbers was around before Crookshanks, and so she introduced that dynamic. Also, we come to find out that Scabbers is, in fact, Peter Pettigrew, who, fucking piece of shit. And she's very unforgiving about that, right? Kind of snooty. But we never really get to see her, like, in a bad light. Like, she's always very talented. The only time, and the thing is, she really has a good point when all this is happening, is like in the Half-Blood Prince when she's complaining about him carrying around the book, right? Like, because she's like, didn't you learn a lesson, blah blah this, blah blah that, and she's not. It's not like she's not making valid points, but she's also just kind of doing it to be a cunt. In a weird way, like, meh, whatever. I don't even have all the shit I need for that. Fuck. But yes, like I don't ever think that we really like ever. She's never really portrayed in like this negative way ever. You could say she maybe comes off a little bit of a know-it-all in Sorcerer's Stone or Philosopher's Stone, which is like it's Wingardium Leviosa, not Leviosa. Like, but that's depending on how you want to look at it, right? Also, I don't think that's that big of a deal. You know, she's just trying to be helpful. But like when otherwise she's always like extremely helpful. There are a few times when maybe she isn't the best. Like you know, she's like she doesn't help the boys with their homework, but she's also doesn't have to. Like they're not entitled to that. So you know, versus there's very much times when Ron is like just being a petulant fucking dick, acting like a petulant child. I don't think she's ever really shown in that light. She's definitely shown to be a little more emotional, right? But the only times we really see her being super emotional is when it involves Ron being an asshole. And I guess there are a few times when Harry sides with Ron over Hermione on it, but it's usually not because Ron's inherently right, but it's most typically tends to be more because, well, it's more beneficial for Harry to do so. So I don't know. There's different dynamics there. Clearly, she's the brains. She's extremely talented. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think. If you have any more ideas, comments, questions, I would be more than happy to, you know, let you pick my brain about it and see kind of like where we line up on things. But we found some cauliflower. I think this is where I'm gonna cut it. It's been about 2 hours. Thanks for watching. Come on back. You keep watching. I'll keep talking. Have a good day.